LSU is going to suspend Spencer Ware and Tyrone Matthew, two of the best players on that team, for a failed drug test. Could turn into multiple game suspensions. I texted you, Todd, to see if this was something that was percolating in Vegas, to see whether the line was moving at all. And you say so far it hasn't, and in fact the line might not move based on these suspensions?
The line won't move a ton on these suspensions, but you could see it tick down from where we had it at 22.5 earlier today to 21 with this news. You talk about an LSU team who kind of plugs and chugs the pieces against an Auburn team who's going to be hard-pressed to move the ball through the air. But there are two marquee players, and I think it could lead to some public betting on the Auburn Tigers.
Spencer Ware, the leading rusher for LSU, and Matthew has forced 6 turnovers himself. He's scored 2 touchdowns on defense and special teams. Again, big news out of Baton Rouge. Starting tailback Spencer Ware, and then Honey Badger Matthew, the cornerback, suspended. Reportedly failed drug test, according to the LSU student newspaper, which breaks the story.
Arguably the two most indispensable players on both sides of the ball. You can make that argument.
Yeah, that's
certainly
that's a big one.
Matthew on defense.
Well, Ware's a punishing power runner where the other guy, 42, I can't think of his name right now, but he's more of a sprint guy, outside runner. But, I'm sure they have somebody sitting in the wings.
It's LSU. They have a lot of talent, but we're talking to Todd Fuhrman. Still the line hasn't moved, Todd?
We actually took the number down to 21.5, Clay. So you've officially moved a number out here in Las Vegas.
All right. I feel good about that.
So you've made it into the industry and created quite the impact. I will say one thing. There's no news yet, though, if those student reporters from LSU have been hired by Yahoo to head up their college sports division yet.
So the line was, what did you guys climb to, 23?
We got as high as 23. We're now sitting at 21.5 and waiting for more information to come out, as I'm sure you guys will alert us to if there are other players suspended in addition to those two. Be interesting to see what bettors do in the marketplace and if they see value in 21.5. I just don't know how Auburn takes advantage of the Honey Badgers' absence without a real passing game that can stretch the field.
The Honey Badger has tweeted.
Yeah, I saw.
Does anybody know what this means? Is this the lyric of a song? I don't know. Look in the face of death and took its mask off. Matthew's response to his suspension on Twitter. I have no idea what that means, but it may be a lyric from a song or something. I don't know. If somebody knows, let us know. Todd Fuhrman is tweeting out now, giving me credit for moving the line.
Why is it you credit? You didn't smoke anything.
That I know of. Haven't failed any tests anyway.
He sent it to him, right?
Yeah, I tipped him off. I was saying, man, I'm telling you, this is coming. He said, I'm surprised that he hadn't already seen some money moving. Because usually, if the word is out very much, it means the word wasn't out very much at that point. You can see somebody already starting to kind of get hooked up.
On Twitter, at 3HL1045, that's where you can throw your jokes. At AJRA4TN, such a double standard. Les Miles can eat grass, but the Honey Badger can't smoke it.
I know, man. You just hope it's marijuana. I mean, because the student newspaper line says it could be multiple games. And I don't think you would get suspended for multiple games if it's pot. I mean, I'm just saying, I don't think pot use, let's be honest.
Well, is it the drug?
Well, it depends on what their rules are for the school.
Right.
I mean, as far as what he is.
The number of positive tests.
If you tested, let's say, rules 5 times or 2 times or whatever it is, you get suspended for 2 games or whatever.
And every SEC school has a different policy. We need to pull that up because Brett McMurphy and us at Fan House, we did a story about that, and we talked about it on the air here. Florida had the most lenient drug testing policy in the SEC, and it was a lot more stringent than, say, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, and Tennessee. I mean, a lot less stringent. You could fail 5 tests before you got kicked out at Florida, which is really hard to do.
That's a recruiting advantage.
I've been told that coaches will sell that to players if they think they're like to smoke pot. They will say, okay, first of all, you don't get tested very much. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do, but you can last longer.
Who has the best?
Florida has the best. If you want to smoke pot,
Florida's the place to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, it's not a competitive advantage. I mean, in the sense
it is to some.
It's not a competitive advantage in that it's not a performance enhancing substance. It actually makes you a worse player, probably. That's what I'm saying. It's not like you're going out and using something that's making you better.
Yeah, man, it's just, it's hard for me to grasp, I guess, 'cause maybe I'm out of the loop, but it seems like then they're condoning it.
Yeah.
To an extent.
I think they're certainly condoning it.
And I can see if you say, hey, if you get 1 positive test, we'll bypass that, and then on the second test, we gotta do something, we gotta suspend you, we gotta punish you, some kind of fashion. But somebody's 5 times, I mean, I don't even know if that's the type of player that I even want to recruit.
It's 5 failed tests, which means that you can be using
all the time.
All the time. You have to failing a test is tough. And you get tipped
I
off.
don't know. Do you know how hard it is to fail that test?
I've been told that it's very hard to fail tests.
Oh,
they tip you off as to when you're going to be tested.
Right. So what can you do to pass your test? You can go do what the guys at Entourage did? No, I'm joking, but Entourage, remember
I know for a fact. I've seen athletes working to pass tests based on they're like, oh,
how do they work to do that?
There's all sorts of different stuff you can put in your body to try to mask the drug test. Because that's my thing. It's at least the NFL has a central authority that's doing it. Imagine if every NFL team tested. They would cover up for people all the time.
Right.
So every individual school provides their own drug testing policy. So this to me is a big issue. I've asked about this in the SEC. It should be, in my opinion, at least if it's not NCAA mandated across the board, it should be each conference has their own arm that does the testing independent, right?
Right. And then they would all kind of follow the same rules.
If you really want to catch people, because otherwise you're playing under different rules.
Why don't they make that an NCAA deal?
Yeah, that's what I'm.
Here's where the violation is. 3 positive tests, you're gone.
What I was told was because there's a concern about individual state laws, because those are state institutions as opposed to private. Like the NFL is a private business. So 32 NFL private businesses can agree to something, whereas there's an issue perhaps. This is what I was told. I don't know if I buy it or not.
Do they test in the NBA now? For a long time, they didn't test for marijuana.
For pot, yeah.
Well, no. Somebody call in and tell us.
I mean, they're not born with herpes, right?
They can't just make this stuff up, can they? They wouldn't do that, would they?
In other news, the honey badger.
Segue into the honey badger.
LSU's Tyrone Matthew has been suspended along with Spencer Ware and defensive back.
Somebody Simon.
Yes, somebody Simon. Theron Simon.
Simon Cowell?
Not Simon
he didn't
Cowell.
play. Oh, my bad.
It's now, we broke that news to you on here. We moved the line in Vegas, according to Todd Fuhrman. The line has plummeted in Vegas as Auburn is now a 20-point underdog. I'm told it continues to fall. Les Miles has now confirmed the suspensions at LSU. So that is official suspensions now.
Did Les Miles, to make sure that it was weed, did he actually eat the grass?
I'm pulling up the quotes to see if Les Miles was quoted on this.
Lots of you guys are sending us ways to get past the drug test. Justin, well, maybe I should not identify people.
We cannot comment further.
All right, so it's not Justin who sent this. Tape a buddy's clean urine to your leg in a condom. Doesn't seem worth it to me, but I know plenty who do it.
The amount of you who are passing drug tests. Here's another one.
A condom full of your friend's urine? Oh. Tape it to your leg?
Or don't smoke weed.
Yeah.
That would be a couple of options. Here's the other one.
Put down the slow jams, people.
Dip a Band-Aid in bleach, and when you pee in the cup, swirl the Band-Aid with the bleach on it, and that beats the test. I mean, my question is, how do you test? Like, obviously, if these things work, somebody had to be sitting around thinking, well, what if I put bleach in my urine? Well, all of these things are so much more complicated than not smoking pot, right? What if I mix it with Kool-Aid?
Like Vince on Entourage.
Yeah. Well, Vince on Entourage just got a prosthetic pee device.
Right.
Which was really that.
And they told him not to use it, and he used it.
I'm just glad you chose that language.
Yeah, that was good.
Prosthetic pee device.
When I smoked weed, I drank some Golden Seal before any whiz quiz. Pickle juice works too, he says. What's Golden Seal?
That's alcohol?
Man, I'm learning stuff today. Wild animals, passing whiz quizzes.
Some of these responses.
How many players have been suspended today?
A lot. 6.
I mean, this overshadows the 2 Georgia players, 1 Vanderbilt player.
Yeah, 6 SEC players. If you missed that earlier, 2 Georgia players, 1 Vanderbilt player suspended for the first half of their next game.
My friend is a service recruiter. He says they use all kinds of things to get their people to pass drug tests. Recruiters.
Yeah. So who goes to a recruiter and says, that's a great job. I hope I can get it. But here's the deal. You have to help me pass a drug test first. And the recruiter's like, no problem. We'll do whatever we need to.
Well, it depends how much they sold them, because they got to do their best. You know?
I guess.
I sold you. Now you got.
He 30.
We have an issue.
Yeah. Conway tweeting, hell of a day in the animal world. Monkeys with herpes, honey badgers failing drug tests. Steve Irwin's rolling in his grave.
Yeah, you know.
Let's pour one out for the crocodile.
Les Miles eating grass off the ground. They figured they could smoke some grass.
I mean, their coach loves grass, right?
We love grass, too.
I mean, who's going to tell a honey badger what to do for crying out?
Oh, man.
There's shooting animals in Ohio.
You think there's LSU fans at the parties where they're smoking weed or whatever, and they're like, dude, don't do that. You got to win the national title.